news, Marvel fans. We got some big news that can really put the MCU in the right direction with these two individuals going to be spearheading and leading the direction post-Secret Wars. Now, we can all agree, the multiverse saga has been one big mess for Marvel Studios. They have lost their trust. But we can also agree with the next few projects coming out in the next 2-3 years, like Spider-Man Brand New Day, Avengers Doomsday, and Secret Wars, the hype right now is at an all-time high. The anticipation for this first look trailer for Avengers Doomsday next month, you guys, is going to break the internet. Everybody is super excited about it. But the Russo Brothers, a lot of fans were really hyped to see the Russo Brothers return to direct Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars because they have not missed in the MCU. What they did with Captain America Winter Soldier, just elevating that whole genre, and Captain America himself, and then jumping over to Secret War, Avengers 2.5, introducing Black Panther. Oh my goodness, it was amazing. And then to do Infinity War and Endgame, arguably the biggest, best comic book films of all time. Getting them to return for these next two Avengers films were huge, and they always talked about wanting to play in the Ultimate Marvel sandbox with the X-Men and the Fantastic Four. Now that is finally coming true with these closeout films of the multiverse saga. Now, these reports, you guys, have me that much excited for the MCU. So the Russo Brothers will reportedly oversee the overall story for the next saga following Avengers Secret Wars. This is coming from the Cosmic Circus, you guys. This is what they are reporting. This is such a big, massive win for Marvel Studios. Now, we don't know what's happening with Kevin Feige. We honestly don't know if Kevin Feige might possibly retire at the end of this multiverse saga. But I highly doubt that because he's been wanting to do the X-Men and the Fantastic Four for the longest. And we're just now getting started with the Fantastic Four first steps. And with the X-Men reboot, going to be directed by Jake Schreier. He's excited to bring the X-Men back. You know, the fact that he's bringing, the OG X-Men back from the early 2000 films to kind of close out their story and give them the justice that they never really had, in those earlier films. It's going to be crazy to see what kind of X-Men we get from Kevin Feige from this next saga, because it's been rumored that this next saga is going to be the mutant saga. So having Kevin Feige and the Russo Brothers spearheading and leading the charge for the overall story arc for this next saga is definitely exciting. So you have that entire X-Men reboot, which is honestly, it's going to be, whoo, man. I'm excited for this X-Men reboot, but they got to get it right. I am sorry. This X-Men reboot is extremely important because the X-Men are, justifiably the face of the MCU moving forward. It's going to be big. It's got to be absolutely massive. So we have the X-Men reboot, and we have the Deadpool spinoff along with the X-Men that Ryan Reynolds was reportedly working on and writing. So you can expect that from like the mutant side of the MCU. And then don't forget, it's been rumored that after Secret Wars, this is going to be like a soft reboot, a reset. So possibly recasting Steve Rogers, Captain America, and Tony Stark Iron Man, getting a brand new fresh start so you can do another 20 years of storytelling, I feel like is genius and it's brilliant, especially after the multiverse saga completely ends. I am sorry, but Anthony Mackie is not going to be Captain America for the next 10 years. That's just not happening. Kevin Feige understands and realizes that he now has to adapt and make a brand new rebooted, era of the MCU for a completely whole new generation. Think about it. Iron Man came out 2008, you guys. That was such a long time. I graduated high school in 2009. That's such a long time ago. So rebooting and recasting and resetting is just inevitable at this point. It's going to happen. And I'm completely fine with that because I'm going to be watching these movies all the way until I'm like 75, 80, hopefully 100 years old in my, my rocking chair watching these movies. But it's going to happen. Big characters are going to get recasted in some kind of way. And you want that. You want to have an Iron Man interact, with the Captain America. You want to have like your Avengers going up against, the the X-Men eventually, right? You want to see these kind of stories play out. Although we are getting X-Men versus the Avengers in Doomsday, but you want to see many more character interactions. I was always upset that Black Panther never got to interact with Tony Stark and Iron Man. I was like, what the hell is this, dude? I would have loved to see Chadwick Boseman interact with Robert Downey Jr. on the big screen. Such missed opportunities. And best believe Black Panther T'Challa is going to be recasted. Damned in Idris, you guys. That's the recent rumor report. So that's what we can ultimately expect post Secret Wars. But you got to think about all the movies and shows that, Kevin Feige is currently planning out. So your Black Panther 3 with Ryan Coogler, who's currently writing that story. That's going to be featuring, Denzel Washington. Shang-Chi 2, Dustin Daniel Creighton is extremely busy right now with Spider-Man Brand New Day. Hella busy. So Shang-Chi 2 on the back burner, but it's probably more than likely going to happen post Multiverse Saga. Then you have a Thor 5 with Chris Hemsworth, which has been talked about. He's really excited about it. He wants to go in a completely different direction other than what, Taika did with Love and Thunder, in Ragnarok, which is fine with me. I'm down for another direction. I want a more serious tone Thor to close out his story eventually, And then the Fantastic Four 2, whenever that happens, Blade, tying it into the, the Midnight Suns. Apparently that was, in the mix too, post Secret Wars of the world of the supernatural in the MCU, which is big. And this just got announced the other day, you guys. Marvel Studios is working on a second part of Werewolf by Night. And guess who's returning to direct it? Michael Giacchino. So it's going to be dope to see characters like Elsa Bloodstone, Jack Russell, Man-Thing, all return from this particular corner of the MCU, of that being the world of the supernatural. And you throw in Ghost Rider, you throw in Blade, you throw in your Moon Knight, you have a massive hit, dude. I'm telling you guys, a Ghost Rider alongside a Mahershala Ali Blade for a Midnight Suns film would be absolutely a banger of a movie. Which you got to see what's going on with, what's his name, Oscar Isaac. Because apparently he's like, I ain't working for Disney right now. They're not cool. They're not in my book right now because of the whole, Jimmy Kimmel stuff. He's not a fan of Disney. So with him stating this, I doubt Moon Knight's going to appear in, Doomsday or Secret Wars. And, who knows if, season 2 is going to happen for Moon Knight. Because like I said, he stated that he's not interested in working for Disney at the time. And some of you guys say, Disney's not Marvel. Yes, it is. Disney owns everything that Marvel has. So it's still up in the air. We'll see what happens. But, it's definitely exciting, man. I can't wait. I can't wait for what the Russo Brothers can ultimately oversee for this next era of the MCU. I know there's reports right now stating that there's going to be additional photography for Doomsday next spring. So like March to like June-ish. I'm pretty sure, they have, it's a lot. You have so many actors, you guys, you really have to, the scheduling is absolutely a nightmare. I think you also have to think, it's being reported that, Secret Wars starts shooting the summer of next year. So the Russo Brothers are extremely busy right now with post-production work, marketing for Avengers Doomsday, additional photography, slated for spring next year, and then jumping right into shooting Secret Wars while trying to promote Doomsday at the end of the year. It is going to be absolutely insanity for the Russo Brothers, but they are the two that can absolutely do it. They have not let us down thus far in the MCU, and I'm excited to see what kind of stories they want to tell for this next saga to go up against James Gunn and his DC Studios. You're going to be going up against a Jimmy Olsen show and, V for Vendetta. I don't know. That's James Gunn over there. I've already stated how I feel about what James Gunn is doing for DC right now, where it's, greenlighting certain projects. We'll see what happens, but I'm excited for the future of the MCU. We got some massive big projects, massive shows coming out next year, like Wonder Man. Not really massive, but, we'll see how that does. I'm excited for Vision Quest. Apparently, it's absolutely wonderful. Then we have the Marvel Special Presentation, The Punisher. And then we have Daredevil Born Again Season 2. Apparently, Season 3 is already being greenlit. I feel like, this resurgence of the MCU and this restructuring is definitely benefiting them right now. And I feel like Marvel is getting back on track. And they're going to get back to that juggernaut status that they once were, you guys. I'm excited. I can't wait. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below about the Russo Brothers coming back post-Secret Wars to oversee everything story-wise for Marvel Studios. And what future project would you like to see the Russo Brothers direct that's not an Avengers film? Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. And of course, thank you guys for taking time out of your day for watching C-Roll Productions. Peace.